Welcome to this explainer. We're looking at a completely monumental shift in the tech landscape today. If you follow AI, you already know things move incredibly fast. But what just happened at Microsoft Build 2026 over at the Fort Mason Center in San Francisco? Well, it wasn't just another product update. It's an aggressive, industry-defining pivot. We're talking about moving away from AI as just a simple chatbot and stepping into a world where AI functions as the actual operating system itself.
Right off the bat, we've got to look at this defining quote from CEO Satya Nadella's opening keynote. Copilot is no longer a chat assistant, it is a runtime. I mean, let that sink in for a second. This effectively signals the definitive end of the chatbot era as we know it. Microsoft is repositioning its entire developer platform around autonomous agents. They even brought out surprise guests like NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and OpenCloud creator Peter Steinberger, and, somewhat confusingly, the Chainsmokers, just to really hammer this point home.
So, here's our roadmap for decoding all these massive maneuvers. We'll start with the age of agents, then move into securing the autonomous agent, hardware for the AI era, the super app strategy, and finally, we'll wrap up with quantum computing by 2029.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, the age of agents, from chat to OS.
It's absolutely crucial we define what an agent-native OS actually means for developers and really everyday users, because it completely rewrites how we interact with our machines. For the last few years, we've basically been trained to prompt an AI, wait for a response, and then react, right? Well, an agent-native environment changes the game entirely. It means autonomous AI agents are running continuously in the background. They're handling system-level workflows totally on their own. They aren't just sitting there waiting for you to type a prompt. They're anticipating, acting, and proactively managing your whole ecosystem.
And you know, developer tooling is changing so rapidly to support this new reality. Take the GitHub Copilot desktop app, which is now in technical preview for Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's evolving from a simple VS Code plugin into this robust standalone operations dashboard. And here's the kicker. Your built-in tokens, meaning you pay for the AI compute per action for the autonomous tasks your agents take. The features here are seriously powerful. You get a unified My Work view showing active sessions, issues, and background automations. Plus, every session runs in its own isolated Git work tree, so you can have parallel agents working simultaneously without stepping on each other's toes. Oh, and they've totally redesigned the CLI with a new voice mode and tabbed terminal access. This is a massive product expansion, perfectly timed for their new token billing rollout.
Moving right along to Section 2, securing the autonomous agent, the MXC solution.
Transitioning over to the enterprise reality, we really have to address the biggest elephant in the room. How on earth do you let autonomous agents access your files without causing an absolute IT catastrophe? You see, the enterprise security question has been the concrete blocker for large organization deployments. Well, enter MXC, Microsoft Execution Containers. Think of this as the ultimate peace of mind for CISOs. MXC provides a sandboxed, policy-governed environment for AI agents running on Windows. It's basically that crucial policy container layer that absolutely stops an agent from accidentally wiping out a company's file system or peeking its sensitive data it shouldn't.
In practice, the security flow is super straightforward but highly effective. First, you isolate the agent in a secure Windows sandbox. Then, you apply read-only rules where configured, audit all access, and physically prevent any unintended or unauthorized operations. This was perfectly demonstrated on stage when Peter Steinberger ran his open-source OpenClaw agent entirely isolated within MXC. Steinberger himself actually endorsed these controls right from the stage. So Microsoft essentially just handed IT security teams the exact tool they needed to confidently deploy agents across their networks.
Okay, Section 3, hardware for the AI era, rethinking compute. Zooming out from the software layer for a minute, we have to look at how this shift physically alters our hardware. And there's a fascinating kind of anti-hype twist here. For the last 3 years, the entire AI industry has been entirely GPU-brained, right? Everything relied on cloud infrastructure, centralized data routing, and these massive server farms. But agents require a totally different compute profile. Because you want them running continuously in the background with low latency and high privacy, on-device execution becomes paramount. And surprisingly, as NVIDIA's Jensen Huang explained live from Computex, this actually brings the central processing unit, the good old CPU, back to center stage alongside specialized architectures for local execution.
To prove they really mean business, Microsoft unveiled the Surface RTX Spark DevBox. We're talking up to 1 petaflop of AI compute, 128 gigabytes of unified memory, powered directly by NVIDIA's new RTX Spark architecture. And get this, it's capable of running a 120 billion parameter model entirely locally on the device. That is huge. These massive specs validate that running high-powered agents locally on your machine is a very serious product direction for Microsoft, for sure, and not just some flashy keynote demo.
Which brings us to Section 4, the super app strategy, unifying the experience. Now, zooming out to the macro business landscape, Microsoft has clearly recognized a little problem they created: product fragmentation. Basically, they shoved Copilot everywhere, all at once. But the upcoming Copilot super app fixes this by unifying 3 distinct modes. You've got Chat, which serves as your conversational interface, and that's confirmed. Then there's Cowork, currently in beta, which handles desktop task automation, acting as an operating layer agent. And finally, Code, which handles agentic software development, also confirmed. Putting them all in one application is super vital because it makes their new token-based billing model legible to everyone, not just engineers. You have one unified interface with a clear value proposition for every single workflow.
So what's the real takeaway here? It's all about timing. Even though screenshots of the super app leaked before build, Microsoft specifically held back the demo. Why? We'll just look at the financial timeline for the rest of the year. We have the massive SpaceX $1.75 trillion IPO roadshow kicking off soon. Then in the fall, we've got a looming wave of mega IPOs from OpenAI and Anthropic. Microsoft is strategically positioning its super app launch for the summer to get ahead of that massive narrative wave. They're essentially telling enterprise customers right now, hold off on your annual procurement decisions until summer because we have the unified solution coming.
Finally, Section 5, quantum computing by 2029, the next leap.
For our final segment, we're taking a mind-bending leap into the future to look at Microsoft's long-term bet on scalable compute infrastructure. By boldly putting a hard date on the board for a scalable quantum computer, Microsoft is decisively breaking the 20-year industry running joke that quantum computing is always just 5 to 10 years away. Satya Nadella literally closed out the keynote by standing on stage and publicly committing to the year 2029. Folks, that's just 3 years from now.
And they're confident because of the Majorana 2 quantum chip. Microsoft's pretty controversial topological approach is finally bearing real fruit, transitioning from foundational physics straight to the engineering scale phase. I mean, they're hitting concrete milestones here: 1 microsecond quantum operations and a truly impressive mean qubit lifetime of 20 seconds. To put that into perspective, 20 seconds is basically an eternity in a field where quantum states usually collapse in fractions of a millisecond. Peak instances are even sustaining up to 1 full minute. Interestingly enough, this progress was accelerated by Microsoft Discovery AI, which just goes to show that AI is now accelerating its own future infrastructure. If they actually deliver on this, the cryptographic and optimization implications for our world are going to be absolutely staggering.
I really want to leave you with this final thought, because it cuts right to the core of everything we've unpacked today from the Build 2026 announcements. With autonomous agents operating continuously at the OS level, managing your files through MXC, and running locally on incredibly powerful new CPUs, who is really driving your computer, you or your AI? As we step into this brand new Agent OS paradigm, the security, workflow, and even philosophical implications of delegating our operating systems are truly profound. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring these fascinating developments. Stay curious.